Hello and welcome to Promethean Basics. This training module will show you how to set up your profile and the customization of your toolbars and your layout for your ActivInspire. Now I have a blank page open right now and all the settings are by default. So I have a toolbox over here on the right. I have the trash can at the bottom. My main menu bar is across the top with the one tab open of the one flip chart I have. And then I have my drop down menu up here. So say I want to change the layout to customize it just how I want it to be. I go to File, Settings. So here I have a box that is showing me the layout and how it's currently set up. And I can change all these options. So first of all, I'm on the Layout tab, and I can choose how big the icons are in my toolbox. So right now they're set as big as they can be. But if you want a little more space back on your board, you can always make it a bit smaller, and I can make the toolbar really tiny. But I'm going to set it back to big because it's easier to see when you have a full class viewing the board. Now that's also my main toolbox, and right now it's docked on the right. Now I could have it across the bottom, the top, or on the other side on the left if I chose to. Now if you have younger children who are a little bit short and may not be able to reach the top of the board or the upper icons on the right, you can always put it down at the bottom. So now my toolbar is at the bottom, and so anything that I would click in there would expand from the bottom and take up a little bit more space. So I prefer it back on the right. I can also choose how many colors I want available. So right now I have 8 colors over the red, the blue, and the green. I could choose to have more colors if I wanted to, if I was using those often. And I could have 8, 16, or 24. Now right now I have it pinned, which means it stays there visible all the time. Or I could undo that so it would roll up and kind of disappear when I'm not actually using it. And I would hover my Promethean pin or my mouse over there to get it back. Now the dual toolbox is active when you have dual user turned on. This means you can use 2 pins at the board simultaneously, and each would have a toolbox. Now the dark gray Promethean pin is normally the teacher pin, and it will be attached to the bigger toolbox on the right. The student pin, which is lighter gray, would have the dual toolbox, and it's a bit limited. It doesn't have as many tools there. Now the browsers, which we'll go into later, are where you get your resources, your object browser, your voting for your active expressions and such. And I have that docked on the left. I don't actually have it turned on just right now, but that's where it'll appear on the left side. And I'm going to want that pinned so it stays visible all the time. So now my flip chart slide here scoots over just a little bit to accommodate all the toolbars that are going on now. And if I wanted to turn that off and have my flip chart kind of be a little bit bigger, I could do that. Now my menu bar is the bar across the top where it says File, Edit, View, etc. I could also have that on the bottom if you have some shorter kids that are using it, and I have it visible. The document tabs show me just what flip charts are open. So if I had several flip charts, their names would be across the top here. Right now this one's untitled and it has an asterisk, meaning I haven't saved it yet. But I could open multiple flip charts and flip through them just like I would do internet page. If I go to commands, I can identify what tools I want in my toolbar. So right now, my main toolbar has a pen, eraser, text tool, shapes, and so on, but I can choose what I want in there. If it's a commonly used tool, I'm going to use a lot. So say I don't want the eraser there, and I would click on it over here and click remove. Now notice on the right side in my toolbox, that icon is gone and there's a space here. I can choose to fill it with something else or leave that space empty. So say I was a math teacher and I'd probably use the equation tool quite a bit. I would come over here and select tool, and I'm going to add it to my toolbar. And now it appears over here on the right side. Now the toolbars over here, it shows how they appear from top to bottom. And if I want one of those tools to go up or down in the location of the toolbox, I would just select it and move it up or down. Now say I go to Settings tab. I can decide what the background is and how big my default flip charts are. Now I can set the world color. And this is the background color on the edge of the flip chart. And if I right click, I can choose any color I want. So if I get tired of the blue, I can choose any of these colors. I can even choose white. Now note that if you choose white, you won't be able to tell exactly where the edge of the flip chart ends and the world color begins. I can also choose the scale of how I view my flip chart. So right now it's set on best fit, so it means however big it is, it's going to fit in my little window here just right. But I can also zoom in and out, so if I want to get really detailed on a section of the page, I can zoom in all the way to 800%. Now my screen size I can change to fit how big I want it to be. Do I want it to be really, really wide or more tall? And it kind of depends on what looks good best on your board. I can also change the page color, so if I want things to not be white when I start, I can change it to any color just like I did the world. The page turn effects is kind of like transitions in PowerPoint, so when you are flipping through slides, it's how do they transition into one another. And I have about a dozen options here, and I'll show you just how they look as a sample. I can also set how long it takes them to do that transition. So once I have things the way I like, I need to save it to my profile. So now that I have set up my profile, I can, when I log in, it will all be set up this way and I don't have to do this multiple times. So now that I've saved everything the way that I like, I can log in anytime and this will be set up already for me. And I can change it anytime by going back in there and changing the parameters.